Welcome, everyone. As we broadcast back at our flagship station at the Agudas Yisrael of Fairways, Lakewood, as we begin always with Hakaras HaTov to TorahAnytime.com for providing us a platform in 187 countries, to Kol HaLashon for its amazing dissemination of Torah, to our new channel on YouTube, Facebook, and of course, Torah Communications Network, those of you that are joining us here, Zoomers and subscribers. Tonight we have two very special sponsors, Dr. Sana and Rhonda Black, who are sponsoring the shir. It's very nice in acknowledgement of the fact that I have reached a milestone of 7,000 plus shiurim on TorahAnytime.com. And I thank Hashem. Thank you, Dr. Black, for helping me thank Hashem for that opportunity, for that privilege. The shir is also sponsored by the Lebovitz family, Leilui Nishmas sister Alita Liba Wiznitzer Bas Rebbe Yamin Zev, that the neshama should have an aliyah, she should have a lichtige Gan Eden and be a militzas yosher. And also in Hakaras HaTov to Naftali and Sharon Nyman, who are now living in Memphis, previous balabatim of mine from Staten Island, who gave them their first gift subscription to my shiurim 20 years ago. Thank you, Marnin, and the whole Lebovitz family. I'd like to learn from my Shver, B'Duraya ben Rivka, and from my good friend, Meir ben Chaya Sarah, who we are delighted has been taken off a ventilator. He should have a refuah shalema, b'seg sharcha Yisrael. Atem Netzovim Hayom Kulchem. You are standing here, everybody. So the Tanchuma addresses the fact that this is taught in proximity to the 98 curses in Kisavai. Amar Chizkiah Benai Shel Rabbi Chia, one of Rabbi Chia's children, Chizkiah, Lama Nismacha Parsha Zu L'Klalos. Why is this parsha written in proximity to the curses? L'fi Shamu Yisrael, Klal Yisrael heard Tzadik Ches Klalos, 98 curses, besides the 49 curses in Vayikra. And they said to Moshe, Mi yuchal lamoid be'elu? Who can stand up to all these curses? Miyad mefaisan Moshe Rabbeinu atem nitzavim hayom kulchem. You're here, you're all standing here, aren't you? The Rebbeinu Shalom is rachamim. And then the Medrash continues. Mibnei ha'ma hagoyim niskayvu kliya v'anu kayam. We see that the goyim, they get wiped out. Empires that used to be extraordinary empires, only a footnote in history. The Babylonian Empire, the Roman Empire, the Grecian Empire, the Empire of the Medes, they get wiped out. V'anu kayamin. Why do we continue to exist? So, we would say, yeah, it's because we're B'nai B'chayri Yisrael. Listen to what the Medrash says. L'fi she'umas ha'olam b'shah she'bon aleim yisurin. When the Goyim, when they have suffering, mivatin, they kick, ve'enon maskirim shem Hashem. They lose their faith, and they don't turn to Hashem. Shenemar shvach hamoscha ala Goyim, pour your anger on the Goyim asher lo yiducha, that don't know you. Asher b'shimcha lo yikaro, when they're in trouble, they don't call your name. Aval Yisrael ain't on Cain. Klal Yisrael is not that way. When we have good, Kais Yeshua says a cup of salvation we lift, the V'shem Hashem Ekra. And when God forbid things are bad, tzara v'yoga and emtza, when we have distress and grief, uv'shem Hashem ekra. We also call to Hashem. That's our secret. So I want to talk to you now about a powerful weapon that we have at this time of the year. It's a powerful weapon that we have at this time of the year that a lot of people are unaware of its tremendous koyach, its tremendous defense. From Chodesh Elul until Shmini Atzeres, we say 2 times a day, L'David Hashem Oiri. Most people say that the earliest source for this custom is from a holy siddur written by Rav Shabtai Mirashkov in 1788. Others say, this week was the Baal Shem Tov's Yahrzeit. Others say it's even earlier, dating back to the Baal Shem Tov. But most people bring down that the first source for the minig of L'David Hashem Oiri from the siddur of Rav Shabtai Mirashkov. Now listen to what he says. When he introduces this minig, he says, Kabbalah b'yadeinu. He says, it is a tradition in our hand. Ki kol ha'omer es mizmor L'David Hashem Oiri b'kavana M'Rosh Chodesh Elul ad Simchas Torah Yotzei Zakai Badin. He will come out victorious in judgment. Umevatel me'olav kol gezeros kashus v'rois. And it has the power to cancel harsh and evil decrees. Now people will say, who's Siddur Shabtai Mirashkov? But everybody knows the Mata Ephraim. Mata Ephraim brings it down. And the Chidah, Zecher Tzadik L'Bracha, Schusi Yogan Aleinu, says, Im Omar B'chol Yom B'boiker U'Be'erev, if you say it every day in the morning and the afternoon, if you're Sfard, you do it by Mincha, if you're Ashkenaz, you do it by Ma'ariv, Azayhu Muftach Sheyoytzi Yomu V'Shneisav B'Toiv. You'll merit having your days and years in good. Now, the truth of the matter is that you really can't figure out what does this psalm have to do with this time of the year. The word tshuva is not mentioned once in the psalm. It's the season of tshuva. David Hashem Oiri doesn't say once the word of tshuva. First of all, you have to know there's a beautiful Rab Shamshon Raphael Hirsch. He says that the most psalms say L'David Mizmar. It doesn't say here L'David Mizmar. It says L'David Hashem Oiri. Shamshon Raphael Hirsch says this song is the mission statement of David. It's the essence of David. That's why it doesn't say L'David Mizmar. It says L'David. You know, the mission statement was, he says, Akashal Timeis Hashem Osav Akesh. It's a mission statement. I'm going to tell you something really remarkable. The Rav Shabtai, when he introduces this kapitel, he points out something which there's no way you're going to know this if you didn't see it inside. But it says Hashem's name in L'David Hashem Oiri 13 times. And that's because this is the time that we say the Yud Gimel Midas Shel Rachamim, the 13 attributes of mercy. Hashem, Hashem, Kel Racham Mechana. And therefore in this kapitel it says Hashem's name 13 times. Now, that in itself is pretty remarkable. But There is a beautiful, I just got it yesterday, after I prepared the shir, but there's a beautiful little sefer written by Rabbi Yehuda Steinberg on the David Hashem Oiri. And he points out that you say Hashem's name 13 times in the David, and you say it twice a day. So that means that you're saying Hashem's name 26 times. And the Yud Kei Vav Kei, Hashem's name, is B'Gematria 26. 26 times 26 is 676. That's the Gematria of Rois. Rois, Reish Ayin Vav Saf, is 676. And the Pasuk says, Rabbis Rois Tzaddik, even a righteous person could have many Rois. Umikulam Yatzilenu Hashem. And from all of them, the saying of Hashem saves it. So here we say Hashem's name 26 times in the David, which has a gematria of 26. That's 26 times 26 is a rise. So Rabbis Roi Tzaddik, Umikulam Yatzilenu Hashem. The saying of Hashem. And by the way, again, there's no way you can know this, but Chachamim Ikrei Seifrim, the sages are called Seifrim. They count things. Happens to be, there are exactly 676 words in the Teichacha. 676. So this saying of Hashem's name in the David Hashem Oiri 26 times, the twice that we say it, 26 times 26, 676, should save us from all of the klolos of the Teichacha. But why do we say this kapitel? What's its connection? So, of course, the Medrash says, L'David Hashem Oiri, Oiri zu Rosh Hashanah. V'yishi zu Yom Kippur. Ki yitzpaneini b'sukkah b'yom ra zu Sukkot. So that's the simple connection between the David Hashem Oiri and this time. And by the way, when we say the David Hashem Oiri, what he meant was when he says Hashem is my light. You have to understand that if you're in, I remember the year that we sold our house in Staten Island, and this house over here in Fairways wasn't ready yet. It was under construction. So for a month, we didn't have where to live. So we lived in our cottage in South Fallsburg. So for the month of June, when nobody was up there, we were alone in our cottage in South Fallsburg. And here we were. That's a, Elm Shade Estates has, like 60 homes. And it's like in the middle of the woods, and nobody's there. And there was a blackout. So it was in the middle of the night, there was a blackout, there was absolutely no light. And I remember it was a little scary. And here I am with my new bride. And when we say L'David Hashem Oiri, we say that Hashem is our light. We're not afraid. That's the difference of whether we're afraid or not, is we have Hashem as our light. Also, if people know the advantage of a lighthouse to ships is an amazing thing. It's a beacon letting them know exactly where they are. And that's Hashem. Hashem is our lighthouse. He lets us know where we are. But I'm veering off with a little prose. I want to talk to you about why we say this kapitel. From Elul to Yom Kippur. We have to know that we ask Hashem for many things at this time of the year. We ask Hashem for a good parnasa, because Mezaynaisiv Shaladim Ktsuvin Loi Rosh Hashanah. We ask Hashem for gesund. Big thing, gesund. Should be able to fall asleep in the night. Should be able to go to the bathroom properly. We should see well, hear well, digest our food. The heart should work. I mean, there's so much to... We also ask Hashem for shalom bayis. We should have peace, harmony, nachas from the children. There's a secret about asking Hashem for things. That secret was revealed to us by the great Rebbes on the Haggadah. In the Haggadah before Manishtana, it says, Kan haben shoyel. Here, literally, this means, here the son asks. Duh. The Gedolei Admorim say, it means, Kan haben shoyel. Here is where you ask for a son. Everybody wants a son. Just saying, give me a son? You got to give Hashem a reason. Why should you have a son? Oh, I want a son to be able to answer the Manishtana. I want a son to fulfill Vigada to Levincha. Oh, that's the way to ask for something. So here we're asking for life. We're asking for health. We're asking for wealth. But we want to give Hashem a reason. So therefore we talk about David HaMelech's mission statement. Acha sha'alti me'es Hashem osa v'akei shifti b'veis Hashem kol yemei chayai. Lach zois b'noyam Hashem u'levaker b'heichalai. David HaMelech talks about two things. He talks about Lach zois b'noyam Hashem. I want to see the sweetness of Hashem. The sweetness of Hashem is Torah. And levaker be'echaloi is to come and daven in his heichal. And person says, Rebbeinu Shalom, you know why I want an easy life? Menuchas hanefesh. I want to be able to come regularly and learn, and be able to concentrate on my learning. A person has problems, can't concentrate on their learning. A person that's fayukt can't keep their mind on the Gemara. And a person that's really busy can't even come to learn. I want to be able to come, never miss a Shachris, Mincha, and Marav. And when I come, I should have the cup and the strength to concentrate on talking and connecting with you. That's why we say L'David Hashem Ayri. We say, Rebbeinu Shalom, I understand very clearly that I have to be deserving for a good parnasa, for health, for a good night's sleep. But I want a good night's sleep so that I don't fall asleep during the daf. I want health that I could come and daven a good Shemoneh Esrei with concentration. Now, of course, we also say L'David Hashem Ayri because David HaMelech was telling us about his passion to have dveikis with the Rebbeinu Shalom. Shifti b'veis Hashem. That's Elul. Ani l'dodi, I to my beloved. That's Elul. That's the Mahus of Elul. But my friends, this is only the beginning of the story. I'm going to talk to you now Why isn't this charging? Why isn't this charging? That's why. Got to baby the plugs. Listen to me carefully. What was LeDavid Hashem Oiri written about? This was David had a tumultuous life. But one of the most tumultuous episodes happened when David was encamped with his family, with 600 men and their wives and children, in the town of Ziklag. There was a town called Ziklag. And at the time, David took his 600 men and went to loyally aid his ally, Achish, the king of the Philistines. Achish, the king of the Philistines. And he went to aid them in their battle. At the end, they didn't need his help. The generals didn't want the help of the Jews. That's another discussion. Unbeknownst to David HaMelech, when he left the city of Ziklag, the Amalekis, our hated foe, attacked the city of Ziklag, took all the women and children hostage, including two of David HaMelech's wives, Abigail, the great Abigail, and Achinoam, and all the other women and children. They burnt down Ziklag to ashes, and they went away. When David HaMelech returned, he found to his horror Ziklag in ashes. He didn't know what happened to his wives, to the wives and the children. And his own men confronted him angrily, telling him how could he have left the women and children defenseless. And in Shmuel Aleph, the Navi testifies that the men wanted to stone David HaMelech. So it says that at that juncture, David HaMelech was very, very, very low, because he blamed himself that he put his own wives and the wives of his men and the children, he didn't even know what happened to them, in mortal danger, and they themselves wanted to stone him. So what did David HaMelech do? Tzara v'yagain emtza. So it says, Vayischazek David ba'Hashem elikav. David put his trust in Hashem. He said, Kol da'avid rachmanu l'tavid avid. And he turned to Hashem and davened to Hashem. After he did that, he summoned Evyasar. Evyasar was the Kohen Gadol, who had in the Choshen, in the folds of the Choshen, the Urim v'Tumim. And he asked the Urim v'Tumim if he should go do battle with the Amalekis. And the Urim v'Tumim answered in affirmative that he should go and he'll be Matzliach. He went, he attacked the Amalekis. He won without losing one man and recovered all the women and children. The Chavetz Chaim adds a very important caveat. The Chavetz Chaim said that it's only because before he asked the Urim v'Tumim, he turned to Hashem with trust and prayer. Vayischazek David ba'Hashem elikav. The Chavetz Chaim says if he didn't do that first, he would have gotten a different answer from the Urim v'Tumim. Says the Malbim that this is what this kapitel refers to. He says, "B'kroiv alai mereim." When there comes the evil ones, that's the Amaleki, the evil ones. Lechales besari. They came to eat my flesh, my own wives. And David HaMelech said that the Rebbeinu Shalom was there for them. Im tachen alai machen alo yira libi. Im tokem alai milchama bezeis ani vaiteach. And that's why we say this at this time of the year. Person is in Elul. He makes a cheshbon hanefesh. Ay, what's going to be with me? What's going to be with me? I did this, I did that. Our job is to turn to Hashem in tefillah. That's what we do. We turn to Hashem in tefillah and we ask Hashem to help us. And it's so interesting that this is the way a Jew starts his week. With the same, what does it say? L'david Hashem oiri v'yishi, memi ira. Hashem ma'ois chayai, He's the strength of my life, memi efchad. Who should I be afraid of? This is exactly how we start Havdalah. Hinei kel Yeshuasi, eftach v'lo yefchad. Same thing. Now what do we say? Hinei kel Yeshuasi, eftach v'lo yefchad. Ki ozi v'zimras ka v'Hashem li Yeshua. Those are the two things of Achashalti. Ki ozi is Torah, Hashem oiz ramo yitain, and Zimras is Tefillah. It's the same idea that we start our week with this mission statement. Listen to it again. Hinei kel Yeshua si, God is my salvation. Eftach, I put my trust v'loi efchad. Ki ozi v'zimras ka. Ozi is Torah, Zimras is Tefillah. Hashem li Yeshua, and that's my Yeshua. This week's parsha, one of this week's parsha, it says, Ki ha-mitzvah azois, this mitzvah, asher anoichi mitzavcha hayom, that I'm commanding you today, loi nifleisi. Now Rashi says nifleis means it's not covered over. It's not hidden. V'loi rechoikehi, it's not far away. Now, the Gemara in Eruvin says that the mitzvah that we're talking about over here is Torah. So now listen to the Medrash. Rashi says, "Lo nifleisi," it's not hidden. Vim nifleisi, and if it is hidden, mimcha, it's your fault. It's your fault. Your fault. So in Vayikra Rabbah it says like this: Himshul Mashul Rav Chanin de Tziporin. Rav Chanin and Tziporin made this parable. Somebody had a tlulis shel offer. He had a big mound of dirt in his courtyard. Misha Tipish, somebody who's a fool, says, Mi yachal ifnaisa. It's gigantic. There's no way. In those days, they didn't have caterpillar machines. Who could clear this humongous pile of dirt? That's a tippish. Misha Pikeach Amar, Hareini Koitz Shtei Mashpelos Hayom. I'll take 2 huge shovels today, Ushtei Mashpelos L'mocher, and 2 shovels tomorrow. Ad Shani Koitz Eskula, and slowly but surely I'll clear it all. Kain Misha Tipish Amar, Mi Yochel Lilmid Es Kala Torah Kula. Who could learn it? Who could learn it? Nezikin, that means Bava Kama, Bava Metzion, Bava Basra, is 30 prakim. Kalim is 30 prakim. Shabbos is 24 prakim. Misha Pikech Amar, Hareini Shaina Shnei Halachas Hayom, Shnei Halachas L'Macher, Ad Shani Shaina Kol HaTorah Kula. That's one mashal. Then the Medrash says another mashal. What a powerful mashal. Oid Himshel Reb Levi, mashal L'Traskel Nokov. There's a basket with a hole in it. Shesachar balav poyelim l'maloisai. That somebody hired workers to fill it. It has a hole in it. So Mishu Tipish Mawaimer, the fool, what does he say? Mani mail, machnes bezu, maitzi bezu. Why should I fill it up? It's going to go in and it's going to come right out. What does the Chacham say? Misha pikach ma'alaimer, v'lo yischar kol chavius v'chavius, I'm getting paid to put it in, I don't care. So listen to what Reb Levi says. Mishu tipis ma'alaimer, mani mo'alim l'Torah, what does it help to learn Torah? Umeshakha, I learn it and I forget it. Mishu pikach ma'alaimer, lo yischar yigiach kadosh baruch hu naisa. Doesn't Hashem give me the schar for trying? Whoa. The Medrash doesn't say, don't worry, you won't forget it. No, the Medrash doesn't say that. Aren't you giving schar for trying? Wow. This is a tremendous lesson because a lot of people say about learning Daf Yomi, I'm learning Daf Yomi. I don't remember what I learned 2 weeks ago. What do you think I'm going to remember what I learned 2 years ago? Chofetz Chaim says in every siyum we say Anu Amelim V'Heim Amelim. We work and they work. Anu Amelim U'Mekablim Schar. We work and get reward. V'Heim Amelim V'Einam Mekablim Schar. And they work and they don't get reward. So the Chofetz Chaim said that's not true. Goyish workers work and they get reward. So the Chofetz Chaim says if you hire somebody and you tell him, get my air conditioner working and I'll pay him. And he doesn't get the air conditioning working, he doesn't get paid. But if we learn and we come to a shir and we don't understand it, or if we learn it and we forget it, we still get reward. And that's a very important thing to know. It's people say, what am I going to learn? It's going in one ear and out the other ear. So first of all, you have to know, the Gemara tells us in Masechtas Megillah, L'ukmei girsas yata d'shmai. To remember is not up to us. It's yata d'shmai. And that's why Rashi, in the beginning of Avodah Zarah, says that when we say the bracha of Atochonein L'odam Das, we should daven to help to remember our learning. It's true that I heard this from Ramosha. I did hear this from Ramosha. I was in by Ramosha when a bacher came in by lunch, and he asked him, Rebbe, how do I remember my learning better? So Ramosha told him, what's the first thing you remember in your life? So the boy said, when he was a young boy, he touched a heater as a baby and burnt himself. And that's the first memory he has. So Moshe smiled, he says, exactly. It made a big impression on you. And when something makes a big impression, you remember it. He says, the more our learning makes an impression on us, the more we'll remember it. That's what Ramosha said. Ramosha. I also like to advise people that that's why it's so valuable to learn davening, to make a seder and learn davening. Because whatever you learn about davening, you review 3 times a day. It's a great thing. You learn benching. Every time you bench, you review it. anything that we do habitually. That's why also it's very valuable to learn Chumash. If you have a Sedra, you review it twice, and then you hear it again in Shul. These are things that you... But of course we have to learn other things. And the Medrash is saying, you're right. The average person is not going to remember it all. But Hashem has said, I'm hiring you to learn it. It's the Medrash compares it to somebody that tells person to fill up a basket. Now, about what the Medrash says, that the fool says, how could I ever clear away this big dump? Many people don't learn because they say, I'm starting out late in life, and they just take one look at the Shas on the Sfarim Shach, Brachas, Shabbos, Erev, and then there's, I can't believe it, there's Yavamis and Ksuvas, and then Bava Kabbalah and say, Zvachim, Menachas, Chulin, that's, each one is a, how could you do it? 2,711 blat. You do it one a day. That's what the Medrash says. You learn 2 halachas today, 2 halachas tomorrow. Rashi learns that that's a pasuk in Mishlei. The pasuk in Mishlei says, "Es pnei mevin chachma ve'enei ksil b'ktzei haaretz." So Rashi says the eye of the fool looks at the faraway land. Rashi says the eye of the fool says, how could I do it? There's 30 prakim in this Masechta, 30 prakim in that Masechta. Forget about it. It's out of reach. Rashi says, Pnei Maven Chachma. The Chacham says, look, people did it before me. It wasn't only the geniuses that did it before me. People did it before me. That's the idea, by the way, rabbis say, of learning Mishnah Yomis. You know, we started Mishnah Yomis when we opened this shul. Shortly after we opened the shul, we started Mishnah Yomis. We already finished the entire Seder Zizram with very difficult Masechtas, Kloyim and Orla and Meiser Sheni and Meiser Rishon and Trumas and Peah. We learned all those, Demai. We learned all those, and we already learned the entire Masechta Shabbos and Erevin, and by learning 2 a day. Now, there's something else you have to know. It says in Pirkei Avos, in the second parak, Mishnah Chaf Daled, Reb Tarfon continues his teaching, Lo yalecha hamalacha ligmar. Hashem doesn't ask from you that you have to finish. You know, some person says, why should I learn Mishnah Berurah? I'll never get through the whole thing. Why should I learn halacha? I'll never get through Arba Chelkei Shulchan Aruch. Lo yalecha hamalacha ligmar. It's not your job to finish. You'll say, well, if I have to have a complete thing. If I can't finish it, I'm not stung. You don't have the right to say that. And now we see the Torah. You know, we learn these parshas. We learn these parshas before Rosh Hashanah. Really, if a person wants a new lease on life, a person has to make a renewed commitment to Torah study. So the Torah is giving us tremendous chizuk when it comes to Torah. Ki karoi veilecha adavar ma'od. It's very close to you. In your mouth, in your heart, to do it. So, in El Yerabah Zuta, this records discussions with Eliyahu Hanavi. In Eliyahu Rabbah Zuta, Perek Yudalid, it says that Eliyahu once met a man. Pam poga Eliyahu b'adam. He once met a man. And Eliyahu asked the man, "My time lama Torah. Why don't you learn Torah?" So the man defended himself. He said, "I was never taught it. It's not like in today that everybody gets a yeshiva education. The man said, I didn't learn it. So Eliyahu asked him, Ma malachtecha? How do you make a living? So he said, Tzayin ani. I'm a hunter. It seems to be that he threw nets into the sea. So Eliyahu asked him, Mila medcha shetavi pishtanai? Who taught you to bring flax, v'larag mitzudas, and weave nets, and how v'sashlichu liyam, and how to throw it in the sea? So the man answered him, listen to what the man answered him. B'zen nosna li bina v'das min hashemayim. I was given understanding and knowledge in heaven how to do this. That's what he answered. So Eliyahu tells him, you have natural acumen for this, and you don't have a natural innate das to learn Torah, which the Torah says, Ki karav elecha adavar ma'od beficha ubuvavcha la'asayisay. Hashem didn't give you a natural aptitude for that. That's the Tanit Be'Eliyahu Zuta. So there was a Rosh Hashiva, a Ram, in Ponevezh by the name of Rav Shlomo Berman. Zech Tzadik L'Bracha Schus V'Yagan Aleinu. Rav Shlomo Berman interpreted this Eliyahu Zuta. He said, when something is your life, then you figure out how to do it. If something is your life, you figure out how to do it. The fisherman, he did this to live. So he figured out how to do it. He says, a Yid has to believe, Ki hein chayenu v'arech yameinu. This is my life. You have to learn how to do it. I want to explain this Eliyahu Zuta a little bit different. I really feel that this is an important explanation. This man told Eliyahu, I have an innate ability to do this. And I've met people that were born, you have children that already at a young age, my Yaakov loved an erector set. He already had an affinity for building things as a little child. Now he's in construction. I know a teller in the bank who I gave a pile of checks like this, and in her head she counted out all the checks. She said, yeah, it matches. In her head. Pile of like 28 checks. It's true that the Rebbeinu Shalom makes people for their parnasa. That's actually a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says, Ehov es hamalacha. Love your work. And that means that you should figure out to connect to what the Rebbeinu Shalom meant for you to do. You ever wonder that there are people that are toll collectors? You'll say, a toll collector, I feel so bad for him, stuck in that closet the whole day. Yet there's a toll collector that I heard say, I got the easiest job in the world. Aren't I lucky? I know that if I would have to sit by a cash register the whole day and take people's money and add up, I'd go crazy. But I know somebody, he said, I have such a social job. I get to meet so many interesting people. And I get to help them with their food for their house. Hashem makes everybody love what they do. So here this man told Eliyahu, you asked me about nets. It was in my fingers. It came naturally to me. You know what Eliyahu answered him? You have to understand that it says, Im lamanata Torah harba al talzik Torah la'atzmecha ki lekach leitzarta. There's no question a Yid was born to learn Torah. Ki heim chayenu v'arech yameinu. It's our life. What did Rabbi Kiva tell Papas? When Papas asked him, I don't understand, how do you teach Torah? The Romans said it's a death sentence. Yet you went ahead and you continued to teach Torah. You're here. Is there any question that you're here? So he said, well, if they say that it's a death sentence for a fish to go into the water, would it not go into the water? Outside of the water, it's already dead. Torah is our life. We can't live without Torah. It's not possible. It's our breath. It's our oxygen. Bereshis bara b'shvil Torah shenikra reishis. So Eliyahu looked at him and he said, do you really think that Hashem gave you an innate ability to make nets and he didn't give you an innate ability to learn Torah? Every Jew has an innate ability to learn Torah, and that's the Gemara Nida, that we're all taught the Torah 40 days before. We all have that kikara ve'lecha adavar ma'od b'ficha b'vavcha la'asayisai. There's nobody that's not cut out for learning. There's no such thing. I always said that I believe that that's the reason why Rameya Shapiro had the boldness to suggest that everybody should learn Daf Yomi. Everybody? Everybody could learn Yavamas? Everybody could learn B'chairis? Everybody could learn Yishalmi Shkol? Yes. Why? Because we were all taught Torah b'me'ayima. That's the reason. Mayim amukim eitza b'lev ish v'ish savuna yidlena. And that's why we have the minig of upsharing. It's all business letting the child go around with here till 3 years. Because when the baby is born, he lost his learning. And the baby is an ovel who can't cut his hair until at 3 he's ready to be taught Shema Yisrael. Then the avelus is over. That's why by the Shalom Zacher we serve arbus. Why do we serve arbus by a Shalom Zacher? We serve arbus because arbus is round. It's a similar simon of avelus. That the baby lost his learning. What are we remembering there? Because we all have to know that we have that innate ability. That's what Eliyahu Hanavi was berating him. He says, don't tell me that you have an innate ability to do this and not to do that. So what is it? Why are there so many people that are not learning? If we're all made to learn, so herein lies something that we all have to know. The biggest single Yetzer Hara in life is not to learn. That's the single biggest Yetzer Hara in life. We know that because it says, Barasi Yetzer Hara, Barasi Torah Tavlima. I created the Yetzer Hara, I created Torah as the antidote. So therefore, if there's anything that the Yetzer Hara is going to try to stop us from, it'll be Torah. And he's so fixated on this that he'll rather you go out and do tzedakah, he'll rather you go out and do another mitzvah, just don't learn Torah. Because that's his nemesis. And that's Nitzchias. And that's Talmud Torah Keneged Kulan. Right? It says, it's in the beginning of Masechtas Avodah Zarah, Daf Beis Amud Aleph. It says, L'osid Lavoi, Hashem is going to sit and take a Sefer Torah b'cheikai. V'amar kol mi she'asik ba, yavoi v'yitol schoroi. Whoever is Isaac in the Torah, come and get it, boys. He doesn't take a pushka on his lap. He doesn't take tefillin on his lap. He doesn't take Taras Mishpach on his lap. He takes Torah. Who is considered a VIP in the next world? Ashrei mi sheba lekan v'talmudai biyadai. And therefore the single biggest Yetzer Hara not to do something is for Torah. That's why, what do you think the Yetzer Hara created Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu and all kinds of things? Why do you think the Rebbeinu Shalom did that? Because the Yetzer Hara says, what am I going to do? There's now so many ways to learn Torah. You can listen to Rabbi Moshe Meir Weiss. You can listen to Rabbi Borenstein. You can listen to Rabbi Stefanski. You can listen to All Daf, OU Daf, Gat Torah. You can listen to so many things. There has to be Zeh L'Umah Zeh Oseh Elikim. It has to be an equal Kayach HaTumah. So to frustrate, and the Chofetz Chaim said, it's a famous Chofetz Chaim. Many of you heard it from me many times, but it's worth it to review it in context. The Chofetz Chaim says as follows: the Yetzer Hara is never one to procrastinate. We procrastinate. The Yetzer Hara doesn't procrastinate. The Yetzer Hara is up before us, telling us not to get up. He's up later than us, telling us not to go to sleep. He's always around. He's not lazy. Yet the Yetzer Hara never fought with Avram, and he never fought with Yitzchak. But he fought with Yaakov. Ask the Chofetz Chaim, why did the Yetzer Hara delay? Why didn't he try to nip it in the bud and fight with Avram? Says the Chofetz Chaim, Yetzer Hara says, I could live with the chesed of Avram, and I could live with the avodah of Yitzchak. The Torah of Yaakov, it's war. That's why you should know. Why is it that we're not flooded with people? Why? It's true, other people have other shiurim. But Torah is hard. The Yetzer, really, Torah is sweet. It's nechamadim mizavu mepaz ravu musukim midvash v'nofet sufim. It's valuable, it's sweet, it promises eternity. But there's a Yetzer Hara. I'm not going to remember it, I'm not going to stand it, I'm too tired, I won't be able to do it all the time. Yetzer Hara is a master when it comes to Torah. And that's why, by the way, it's such a big thing to get people to come to shiurim. You have no idea what a gift it is to get, tonight the Lebovitz family is dedicating the shiur in honor of Naftali and Sharon Nyman that gave them a subscription to my shiurim 20 years ago. It's probably more than 20 years ago. Probably closer to a quarter of a century ago. And they've been listening ever since. You know what a schar the Nymans get? It says that Aaron was oyev esabrias and mekarvan l'Torah. It's the biggest show of love to a person to get a person to come to learn Torah. It's the biggest gift you could give them. Reb Miller said an interesting thing. Reb Miller said, the Rebbeinu Shalom says, Barasi Yetzer Hara, Barasi Torah Tavla. So Reb Miller asked, what, Rebbeinu Shalom is bragging? Barasi Yetzer Hara. It's my Yetzer Hara, man Yetzer Hara. So Reb Miller says, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to tell you how to deal with the Yetzer Hara. Ramila says, don't listen to them. Borossi Yetzirah. Rabban Shalom says, I created the Yetzirah. If you want to know how to deal with, listen to me. I'm telling you the only way is with Torah. That's the way to deal with the Yetzirah. As we come to the end of the shir, first of all, I want to say that next week, it's a wonderful opportunity to dedicate, it's the last shir of the year, the last shir of Tafshin Pei Gimel. If you would like to dedicate from out there in TorahAnytime.com, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. I want to give you encouragement. The last week of the year is very valuable. The Bali Musa say in the last Shabbos of the year, you could correct all the Shabboses of the whole year. So let's say during the year, you weren't really making Kiddush with Kavanah and thinking about Zeichel L'Briyas Ha'olam and Zeichel L'Yetzias Mitzrayim. It's an opportunity to make it up with the last Kiddush. You haven't been giving brachas. You give brachas to your children, your grandchildren. You didn't sing Eishes Chayil with Kavanah. I told you that I have a custom that when I say Eishes Chayil, I tell my wife an Eishes Chayil, something that I appreciated that she did during the week. That's a beautiful thing to do in Eishes Chayil. You don't sing Zmiras? Sing some Zmiras. This is a time we could correct every Shabbos of the year. We could be Mavasedra. And then on Sunday, it's the last Sunday of Tavshin Pei Gimel. People waste a lot of time on Sunday. People fight about what they want to do on Sunday. We could correct the last Sunday of the year. This way, Hakol Hoylech Acharach Chaim, everything goes according to the finale. We could mamish make the year of Tavshin Pei Daled even better. Remember, we said Tavshin Pei Daled is Tehei Shnas Daf. So try to get another person to start Daf Yomi. Tell them to join us at zoomdaf.com or go to any Daf Yomi. We want to thank you for joining us. Wish you a very good night and a very good Shabbos.